Bitches, we're back.
Get it.
Join us for another wild ride. The last storm is going on overdrive, baby. Up a level. Man, we just got finished playing the Knicks back at home. After we beat them, it was a hell of a win. But here we are, bro. Tough loss. I don't really care. Let's put it like this. The Knicks are a good team. They came out and they had a good strategy after, losing a tough game against us. I heard Mike Breen, he kept calling it a revenge game. Well, whatever it was, I was impressed by the Thunder's effort. My favorite part of the game, bro, was, surprisingly enough, after the game was already decided, we knew we weren't going to win it, and our entire goal was to see how long we could extend the game, possession by possession, just not give up. Whew, that was fun, even though it was over at that point.
Well, I mean, I think that's what Coach D is trying to teach this team that we've talked about before. It's just fucking impressive if you think about it. It's about that mentality, you don't give up. I mean, we've, as Knicks fans, have seen what Reggie Miller did in that, 29 seconds or 30 seconds against the Knicks, where he scored something crazy like 11 points to win the game.
Bro, I want to say it was 9 points in 8 seconds.
Whatever it was. I was trying to be kind by 30 seconds to the Knicks fans, but insane things happen when you have something like that and you create pressure like the Pacers did at that moment against the Knicks. So I like what Coach is doing here is because eventually we're going to be in a position where we're playing against a team that's not as good as us, and we're going possession by possession 3 minutes before the other team is going possession by possession. Mm-hmm. I like this. I like the idea of extending the game as much as possible. For me, I watched Dort really step up last night, 24 points. But really the highlight of what he was doing was 1 block, 1 steal, 3 assists, 8 rebounds, 4 of which were offensive, 3 for 4 from the line, 3 for 4 from 3-point range, and 9 for 14 from field goals. This is what we need to see Dort do in the step up that we've talked about from Dort that we've needed. Great game from him. I just get really impressed with the way that he's handling the spotlight right now.
Yeah, Dort played great, man. He's clearly improving all sorts of ways, like finishing at the basket. And just a quick correction for myself here. I said 9 points in 8 seconds. It was actually 8 points in 9 seconds. That was Reggie Miller. Crazy ending to that game. Spike Lee, front row. I think he gave him a black rose in that series. Gave Reggie Miller that and ended up doing the old choke artist
choke,
thing.
Baby.
Certain people you don't want to fire up like that. But you're right, bro. In the end, never quit. And this game was Randall was really good.
Saw Baisley come back.
Brunson
three
was really
blocks
good
for him.
Yeah, you're right. Baisley came in and provided us a spark. We lacked, without Poku out there, we lacked size. And
Speaking of Poku, man.
Yeah.
Did you know we are 0-3 without Poku?
Look, man.
And 7-7 with him?
Sometimes you don't know what you got till it's gone.
I don't think I'll ever say enough about Poku and just his ability to play defense and really start the defense on this squad. And the more time that we give it, the more time we see it. And I get excited because how can you not get excited with Chet and him there together? You think about the future, you think about what Baisley and what Poku have done together, J.R.E. and Poku. Jay Will and Poku. So you see these forwards that are playing alongside with him, and you're like, oh man, insert Chet here, and it's deadly, man.
I don't think Chet wants to play the center position right now. Maybe he will over time. Poku has shown that he's a natural center.
He's not your atypical center, but so was not Marcus Camby wasn't your atypical center. I heard back to history and see those guys.
I heard Coach D say something about if you told me Poku would have been a critical piece in this team last year, I would have said we need to check you, that kind of thing, right? Well, here we are. He's shown that he can defend the basket. Like, I don't know how this has changed so significantly, because he looks like the same person. He looks like the same player, except it has to come down to one thing. When you draft really young players, they have room for these giant leaps. And with that said, now looking back at, we're not even 20 games into the season. If everybody's healthy at the start of next year, Poku's going to start at center, and Chet's going to start alongside of him. That's my fucking opinion. But I cannot see them saying, okay, Chet, go out there and do your best Poku impression. Like, Poku's Poku. Poku's going to play how he plays, and if you have him and Chet out there, good luck getting a shot off in the interior.
I mean, then you got, guys that step up for blocks like Baisley out there, they're going to guard. You got J-Dub going to guard out in the perimeter as well.
SGA 13th in blocks in the NBA right now.
Exactly.
Like
and this is what this team is designed for. The long arms and the athleticism that we have is designed for this defense. So, again, just seeing how everything's fitting right now is kind of the key with what Coach is doing. I want to throw this out here, too, from the other night is, that second quarter was a rough quarter, right? But if you look at our rough quarter, quote unquote, it's 24 points. They scored 31, and that was really the difference in the game. But that second half, we came back, and I felt really good about it. In that third quarter, I felt like we could have finished a few more shots. I felt like Shea got fouled a couple more times. Dort got a foul a couple more times. These guys that are getting to the hole, but Shea got to the foul line 13 times, and I felt like that was a huge improvement to what we've seen him do the last few days, or a few games. So, again, we want to see Shea get to that line more, but in order for that to happen, the refs have got to start blowing that whistle more, and I just don't know if that's going to happen until he gets to become that all-star level, and that's what he is now, but until you're an all-star, you're not an all-star.
There you go. But 30 points, and we all sit here and go, that wasn't even a top 10 game for Shea this season. Like, it was a kind of a ho-hum game for him. Like, a lot of frustration, a lot of missed shots where, like, I don't play golf, but you know what I mean? Like, it was just that was a miniature, golf putt in right there. Just ding a number of times for Shea. For me, it's a shot I can never make out of 100 shots. But for Shea, we've seen him do it so much, we're just like, holy shit, this guy is so good. He puts up 30 points, and we're all like, yeah, oh well. We're talking more excitedly about Dort's 24, and rightfully so, because Dort is fighting really hard. But obviously, teams are scheming for Shea. And I remember I coached a kid who used to play AAU ball with Julius Randle, okay? At the Texas Legends. So I don't actually know Julius, but I know people who, have known him since high school. But Julius, shit, dude, what was my fucking point? I forgot, dude. You go now. What was my point? Somebody tell me.
You were just talking about Julius Randle and the AAU, the kid that you coached.
Yeah, but I forgot why I brought him up.
Okay. All right.
There was a context, bro. It'll come back to me. Let's just move on, because this is terrible podcasting, bro.
No, it's not terrible. First of all, I want to give a shout out to, let me pull him up right here quickly. He gave us a shout out. I want to give him a shout out because I love it when we have guys that speak up on YouTube or any of our stuff. But this particular dude, he comes out and he says, it's Alphon, I'm going to butcher this so horribly.
Alfonso, dude. I think it's Alfonso.
Alphonse, yeah, something like that. Anyways, no Alfonso, but it is Alphonse something. Okay, 1849. All right, listen, the first time I've read one of your comments, I think you've written us one more time, but this is the first time I remember it because this is a pretty worthy one. He says, superheroes play with your balls, classic stuff, making me laugh, random times, keep it up. Listen, Mark and I come up with a lot of random shit. We talk about a lot of crazy stuff and a lot of stuff that, like, other podcasts won't even touch. It's our bread and butter. When we say it's our bread and butter, we say that in the most delicate way because we look at life in a very unique way. And in order for us to be able to express that self, we look at humor in such a way that others are like, what the fuck are these guys I'm talking about? But if you're a nerd, a super nerd, right, you're not going to think we're as funny as other people do. And that's why we're here, is because, again, we're talking about this Oklahoma City Thunder team right now. We're talking about a loss they had, and we're trying to spin it off in a better way. And this is what we do. We look at the game, we break down the game, and we don't look at the score typically during the game. Yes, we understand that if it's a close game, we're tied to that score. But it's not about the end score. We're watching each one of these players develop. We're watching Trey Mann. We're watching the way he releases the ball. That top of the key three in that first half was key for him. He had just missed one, came back, hit it, right? He was in there for the offensive rebound. You're seeing all these guys just do whatever it takes to get just a little bit of minutes. And you can't help but fall in love with it. Because, look at J-Dub. 26 minutes, led the bench squad, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, and he's just playing good. And every single time I see him attack the hole, I can't help but get more excited because he's starting to take more shots. He's starting to lead that second squad in shots, and that's what we need him to do. We need him to step up in this way that he's dominating the second team in order to be able to get to that point, because we need to see what he can do against other second teams right now. And seeing him come off that bench last night, put 26 minutes in the game, which is the 4th highest on the team, it was great to see.
And I think he started the second half. And you look at the production we got from the starters. Obviously we missed Poku. We got good production from our guards, that's for sure. But in the end, we need more. We need more from somewhere. And we've talked a lot about our depth. And when you are out a couple of players who can really give you starting minutes, then you're asking the bench players to step up and play those minutes. And though that can be a tough transition. So we saw really coach go really deep in the bench, but really kind of lacked any consistent play other than from J-Dub. Baisley gave us a really strong start. And then, sometimes Baisley gives and Baisley takes, and that's just how it goes. But he's learning. And
he's coming off of injury as well.
He is, but I think that I saw maturation. Yeah.
Bro, those are so next level.
Yeah, I mean, Toppin on that dunk. I mean, Toppin, that's a dunk every single time except for, I'd say, probably 3 players in the league. I always exaggerate, but, when it comes down to it, Toppin's a dunk champion, and Baisley had perfect timing. So that was great. Yeah, we're going to see more from J-Dub. His finishes were just spectacular. But then again, lots of assertion from him, and then he goes quiet. And that's understandable for a young player. That's a part of, like, the growth. But in the end, like, when you see those moments, you're kind of like, okay, when he puts this together, we're in for quite a ride, because he's a very, very special player. We got some good minutes from Wiggins. We saw Moose out there. We saw Lindy. We saw really quick minutes from Isaiah Joe. But it was just like, coach is like, okay, where are we going to get these minutes from? Where are we going to find these extra points? Where are we going to get this production from? So where are we going to get the production from, Dave?
Well, again, I look at this as we're seeing Dort step up. Josh Giddey step up. He had 18 points last night, a steal, 7 assists, 9 rebounds, 3 of which were offensive. So we're getting production from other guys. It's just a matter of putting it together. You're seeing right here, you're seeing Dort, Shea, and Josh Giddey, our 3 guys that we've talked about that deserve to be in that starting lineup. Poku's gone, and because of that, we're going to struggle. Again, 7-7 with Poku, 0-3 without Poku. All right, I'll keep on saying that for all those people that have doubted how good Poku is here. And then you have in that next group of people there, I think you have to seriously look at it and say, we need to see the step up from Baisley off the bench, J-Dub, Omorari, and I think you have to ask Trey Mann to do more. That's where we need our production from. That's where the step up needs to happen. Again, we've got our starting 5. We got Kenny Hustle right now. He started last night. I love the way that Kenny Hustle plays. This year, though, it doesn't seem to be his top of the year that he had the year before. But I'm not too worried.
Starting can be hard for anybody.
Yeah, again, I'm not too worried about it because the hustle's still there. Yeah. It's just the shots that aren't going in and, these little things that seem to be going wrong with him. But he'll catch up and he'll be all right. We just need to get him the minutes.
No. Here's what I'd like to see. It's a little bit different, but I think that what happens sometimes when players go down with injury is coaches end up cannibalizing the bench. So they take the best players off the bench, and the bench kind of dips. What I want to see is coach put Mike Muscala into the starting lineup or Lindy Waters into the starting lineup. Somebody who wouldn't traditionally get those minutes off the bench, or maybe are getting 3 to 5 minutes on a random game. Then you still have the bench unit intact, okay? But then again, like, there's been so many times with, like, these rotations where I go out and I give, like, an idea. Coach does it his own way, and the very next game, it's like a breakthrough, and it, like, my idea is beyond obsolete. It becomes, like, I just want to forget that I ever said it, and I do my best to do that. But I feel like...
We've talked about Mike Muscala in the past, starting in that position and then being in that, first half of that first quarter, and then coming someplace in the third quarter, and then finishing the game in that fourth quarter with Shea. Like, we like to see that.
And Coach did this last year, where he would bring a player that was a third string into the starting lineup to keep the... So, I mean, it's not something that's new to him.
No, and I like the fact, though, that he's giving guys like Kenny Hustle a chance to... Kendrick Williams a chance to get out there and start with the team. I like the fact that JRE is in the starting lineup, now the starting lineup. Like, this is good for these guys because, again, right now we're down Poku, we're down Chet. Jay Will, I believe, I don't know if he's sick or if he's getting whatever. We have Osman Jang right now, and he's in the G League right now, which has been amazing for him. And this is something Mark and I talked about in the beginning of the year. We want to see Osman Jang in that G League getting as many minutes as possible. But during the preseason, we saw enough with him that we would be okay with if he was getting those minutes in the NBA level. But as the rotation started, he didn't find himself in that rotation. We were like, listen, get that guy more minutes. He needs the more minutes. So G League is where he's at right now. So
I think he could contribute, though.
You're right. And that's what we've said since day one. But some guys need to go G League.
Is it
Poku did it last year?
Right. So is it the best thing for Jang? Probably the best thing for him is to get out there in the G League.
30 minutes a game out there, bro.
Right. And for us,
and the offense 12. And the defense that we run on the same level. He's getting big time minutes down there.
Right. So that's critical, and that's obviously a positive. So, I mean, really, everything is looking great. It's just like...
We're just missing a few pieces.
Yeah, and like sometimes, not sometimes, every time, when you're playing sports, the hardest thing to handle is when you're the number one objective on the scouting report, because you're dealing with professionals. And someone like Tom Thibodeau, been there, done that, got the T-shirt. I mean, he was the coach for Derrick Rose when he won an MVP. He was the coach for, I don't know. You go on the list, right?
Marcus Camby at UMass.
Was he? I didn't know he was coaching there.
Yeah, UMass Marcus Camby.
He wasn't the head coach. He was
Derrick Rose, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Right, the Timberwolves. Like, he's been there for a while. So his specialty is defense. And I think if I'm like developing a scouting report with Shea, like the difference between the way the Knicks played him the first time and the second time, like Shea has a weakness in his game that they were able to figure out how to exploit.
Sure.
But it's a very slight weakness, and it's something he can work on, and it won't last for very long. But there's a time when he picks up his dribble where if he can get the defense to get off their feet, he can get a shot off. But if he can't get the defense off, then he's looking for an outlet pass.
Sure.
It's more like a safety pass or outlet valve versus like an actual, pass for an assist. So play him one-on-one. When he picks up his dribble, that's when he starts doing the most of his damage. So send a second defender, right? Trap him after he's picked up his dribble. Do not leave your feet. Keep it straight up and make him kick the ball out in a non-offensive threat way. And it's not really, I wouldn't say that was like the overall like theme of the night. But in the end, when Shea drives, that's their strategy. Send 2 or 3 bodies at him, but make sure you're not trying to trap him when he gets the ball, like the old, superstar treatment in the league. Like, because he's so crafty. And he just does so much damage after he picks his dribble. So
Sure.
he was one-on-one until the ball was dead, and then it felt like every angle just collapsed.
And on top of that, you know how Shea was doing a step back too.
Right.
I found that Shea was doing his step back and stuttering because like the space closed out quicker than he realized. And I recognized that, and I was like, okay, now, you know, we've talked about a year ago, sometime in there, about, you know, as you're developing your moves, right, you get to that point where you add a part or add an addition to your moves. You add an addition because it's like, you know, the Hyundai move, if you guys don't know what it is, it's a brilliant move.
Is it Hyundai or Hundo?
Hondo, I'm sorry, thank you.
Car company.
Hondo move, right? It's a brilliant move that you go to the middle and then you pump fake up and you go underneath, right? And I look at Shea's move like right now where he does that step back, right? And then the other day when he hit the game winner, he did a step back and then a step back to that, you know? Like he's adding a piece to it. And I felt like the other day when he was having these issues, I felt like he was going step back, boom, okay. Then, stutter, because I don't know what to do here. When he figured out in the second half, I felt like what he was doing was attacking the hole when he didn't know what to do. Just attack, you know? Like, I think that's the thing about Shea's game is that when he's to step back, he likes to do his fadeaway, right? But if that space closes up too much, he's keeping that dribble alive. He just needs to attack the hole. Because if those guys are coming at him hard, right? It's easy to go around them. So, and Shea noticed that at the end of the second half and got to the line a bunch and it was recognizing that. So I feel like with Shea is that there's still one move that he needs to add to his you know, step back move. And when he does, it's going to throw a game like this where the team is just destroying him on defense in the first half, or not really destroying him, but making things difficult for him in the first half. And then he's going to come back in the second half and score 40 points because, you know, he has that other move to step to. And then when they do that, they won't have any place to do anything with.
One thing, if I was in Shea's ear, right?
Yeah.
I would tell him would be repost. Like if you pick up your dribble and you have to use an outlet valve, create an angle and keep that and then go with your back to the basket. Use a spin move, some element like that. But don't give up your position, especially if you're one-on-one. Like when you're talking about like the Hondo move, like, and when you're talking about things like the drop step and, you know, we saw Giddy busted up like a baby hook, you know, like these are moves that you can go to when you have a smaller defender, or if you just straight up have them kind of like coiled like a spring, you can bounce back with a counter move. So I think there was, you know, there's some players that were really, really crafty at being able to do it. But the guy I'm thinking about right now is Kobe and his ability to split the defense.
Yeah.
But he didn't like split it with the ball and then go try to catch up. Like he split it with his foot. He would go and he would create, like he would do a reverse pivot. So then they would close on him because they were trying to take away his, you know, his fadeaway.
Yep.
And then he would split the defense and go up and under. And I think like that
using the rim as a protection.
Yeah. And Shea's got that move, right?
Absolutely does.
But the thing is, what he doesn't usually go to that move when there's a double. He usually goes to that move when he's one-on-one with someone and he can get them to lift. And if he's got that, then he'll go to it. But now they're taking away his mid-range game. Like they don't want him going to that fade. And I've heard people, including Wally Zerbiak, and Wally was calling the game, not Walt Frazier. So that's why we had the confusion the other day, was because it seems like Walt doesn't travel anymore. He stays in New York, and I don't blame him, dude. He's a legend. Anyway, so Wally compared a shot Shea had from the free throw line to Michael Jordan. Then there was that fadeaway shot he had from the low post, and it was like, damn, that looked like Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan's mid-range game, like I always say there's only a handful of players who are ever capable of going out there and putting up 40 points without hitting a three.
Yeah. And
Shea is one of those guys. And where he's at is he garners so much attention. Now he's on to his counter of his counter of his counter, right? But now he gets the ultimate respect. He gets the, you know, big star next to his name on the scouting report. And then you kind of look at it and you start realizing nobody else is on their scouting report. there was nobody else. So that's what we got to say about that. But I know you got more to say about that, and I'll let you jump on that. But I also want to ask you about the zone. We played a lot of zone. That was interesting.
Yeah, well, we play a lot of zone with Poku out there. Anyways, but it's more disguised like a man-up zone, obviously. But I like the zone. I like when we play that zone. We're daring teams to shoot. And, obviously last night when they went 32.5% or something like that, 11 for 34, you're like, okay, those numbers aren't necessarily what we want to see. But I don't know, man. Anytime that we have a chance to hold a team under 35% from 3-point range, I feel like that's a win. So again, at this point in the stage, you know who your enemy is. You know what their capabilities are, and you're just trying to exploit them. They hit 3 more threes, and I figured they probably would last night. That's right. That's going to happen. So,
Bam, dude. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the game. Obviously, there's a lot of I hate losing. I always want to see a comeback, but I respect the game plan that the Knicks were able to come out and play with, and we earned a lot of respect for them to give us that level of game plan. But in the end, we're a better team than them. But they played like the better team, so you got to give them credit. Jalen Brunson, good player, has a lot of comfort against us. He looked at our lineup and was like, oh, I can get to the hole in this group. And he did it all night. I think it was like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter when he finally missed his first 2-point field goal. It was crazy. He torched us. But respect to him and Randall, and RJ Barrett got back, and maybe he heard some of the things I was saying about him. But anyway, all right. So let's talk about some things, man. First, let's start off with non-Thunder related basketball. Okay. There's a couple of things that we've been slow to talk about. First thing is Joel Embiid is out for at least 2 games with a foot injury, bro. And I don't know what foot injury, but at least 2 games is how they're stating this, but he's having surgery. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people, bro? What are they like? They should be like, hey, we're shutting him down for a month. This is foot surgery. Unless it's like an ingrown toenail. But even that can be fucking enough to wait a couple weeks, bro.
Man, I've had a big toe ingrown toenail, and I was in the field in the military, and they cut it out, right? Mm-hmm. That shit hurt for 3 weeks. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like,
this isn't smart, dude. They need to protect their best player in the last.
Well, and that's what happens, man. When you get to a championship caliber team, and you're like, hey, we're in a win now situation. You look at every single game as, hey, we've got to get these guys to play 75 plus games in order for us to win. We've seen it before, and these guys just get injured really quickly at the end of the season, and then you're looking at a spot where you're like, shit. Now we have 5 games left to the playoffs, and we're not going to see Embiid back until at least 15 games. It's happened before, and it will happen again. And it's why you look at teams like the Thunder, and you look at teams like the Spurs, and even throughout there, the Clippers, that are being overly cautious about these players to make sure that they're completely healthy before they get out there. It's good to see.
I agree. Some people need to check themselves. It's just a report. It'll probably not take that long, but one of the things you hate seeing is what's happened to Cade Cunningham. I haven't seen a follow-up. I saw this a few days ago, but they feared he had a stress fracture in his shin. Bro, all I can say is that's devastating. Number 1 pick. Stress fracture, my understanding is time, rest. That's the only way to recover from that. But in the end, he's too young to have this type of injury, and for it not to have some sort of negative effect. I hope him.
Morant's injured too.
Yeah, rolled his ankle
against us,
but
against the Thunder.
Nasty roll. It was one of those ones you see, and you're like, it's like the heel shifted out, and like you got the ones where your toe rolls over, and those hurt, with high ankle sprain. But that heel shifting out sometimes can be the longest recovery.
Oh yeah, it's just unfortunate, man. You're seeing a lot of injuries right now with players, and it's something that we talked about. When you're looking at stars, it's not about a star being Damian Lillard, a great example. You know, he could dominate for 50, 60 games in the season, and then nothing the next year.
Oh, he just went down, didn't he?
Or he goes down for a couple months. Like, that's what happens to some stars.
What a hot start for the Pistons, man. Not Pistons, the Blazers. I mean, they were killing it, man, and now they're just going to hang out for dear life.
And I think it's important when you have, you know, superstars, is that there's a different level that you have to treat them. And you see teams that are willing to take care of them, and like the Los Angeles Clippers, making sure Kawhi is completely injury-free. And yes, it's frustrating sometimes for these players because they just want to go out there and play. But prolong your career at all cost, because it's the difference between sometimes $100 million.
It's not just about your career, right? Like, it's about your legs. It's about your life. It's about being a grandfather. It's about being able to, like, walk after your career without pain. Like, it's your body. Protect it. Anyway, so let's see. Giannis, bro. Let's talk about Giannis. We haven't talked about this yet. I mean, I think the whole rest of the NBA is probably over the ladder incident at this point. But, I mean, what do you think about it, bro? I mean, kind of bonkers that it went down the way it did. He was trying to shoot some free throws, and my understanding from what I've read is that they generally remove the video equipment immediately after the game. Okay, but he wasn't some fan out there trying to get some shots up on the NBA court, right? And he did ask them, and in fact, help them move it out of the way. But that wasn't good enough. It's Philly. It's Philly, well, man. This is what you expect, right?
Harold came out.
Montrezl Harrell, yep.
Yeah. And he came out and he was like, this is not happening. And here's the thing, man. There is a disrespect. Like, I remember being in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're at a team was at our home, right? And they probably missed 15 free throws in that game. And their coach made them run suicides and shoot free throws afterwards until, our coach is like, this shit's got to go. No, out, Like, I've been there, man. If it's your home, you have the right to stay there as long as you want. If it's not, get the fuck out.
Whoa, I didn't expect you to take that side, bro.
Seriously, man.
That shocked me, dude.
Yeah, I don't like it when guys are messing around like that. Like, to me, like, I get it. You had a horrible shooting night. There's a trillion places that you could go to go shoot. You don't need to go there. Or you go there and you shoot at one side, and then they come back and they switch out the video equipment, do that other stuff, and then you go to the other side. But obviously, if you have players that are coming out saying, don't do that, you have people in the stands still standing there yelling at the players, people trying to change video equipment. Like, I don't like it. He should have recognized and read the room and realized that this is not a good situation, and he should have left instead of getting involved by pushing down, the ladder and getting physical. Like, he shouldn't have pulled that shit. And now you're starting to see, like, players, like, react. Like, he got murdered in the other night. Like literally, like, he goes down the lane and two guys just hit him hard. And people are taking note. We don't care. We don't care who you are. If you're going to act like that, people are going to notice.
Dude, I'm glad we finally have had a proper disagreement for once in a while, dude. It doesn't happen enough anymore. When my parents were here, they were talking about an old pastor of ours who said that we fight more than any other brothers he'd ever seen. And somehow this podcast is relatively without fighting, unless I say something really dirty. But in the end, no fight here. I disagree. I think, yeah. I mean, would I feel that way if it was the 14th guy off the bench or whatever? No. But in the end, like, I don't even think Kevin Garnett would have gone out there and been like, don't shoot on my court. You know what I mean? I think in the end, there's a respect for the game. I feel like Giannis didn't get the respect that he deserves.
Man, listen, if you go to a friend's house and you fuck his girlfriend or fuck his wife, right? Mm-hmm. And then you stand outside and you just dribble a basketball afterwards, like you're marking your territory, like, people are going to fucking care. Dude's going to be like, what the fuck you over here? Oh, man, I just fucked your girl, man. Like, dribbling your ball. Like, come on, man. Like, no one likes that shit.
Yeah, dude. You lost me there, but I mean, like, he just was trying to shoot some free throws, man. He's trying to put in some work, bro. But it's all right, dude. Sorry, your analogy wasn't as bad as what happened with Tim Hardaway.
Dude, Tim Hardaway. What the hell, Tim?
Yeah, so I guess when you said Shea got hammered, when Giannis got clobbered by two guys, Tim Hardaway would have used a different adjective, one that was much more offensive, and then he would have to apologize. All right, we'll come back to that later, but here's another apology that was forced to be given-ish.
All about the apologies, baby.
All right, so you got to watch this, right? This ESPN analyst, Ben Watson, got pissed after his colleague made a joke about his wife, bro. And basically I watched it, and the guy was like, hey, you missed the memo. You're wearing a light suit. Everybody else is wearing dark. You think it's Easter kind of thing? And the guy was like, all that matters is when my wife texts me that I look good. Text me, baby. Text me. Kind of like that. And the guy's like, that's not what your wife texted me. Bro. Bro, they came back from commercial break, dude, and there had been 4 people on set, and there was only 2.
Oh, okay? Shit.
And then as they start being like intro, the second guy comes back, and he's like, and then the dude was like, did you tell him to keep your wife out of his mouth? Your wife's name out of his mouth? And he was like, huh? Like, I ain't got nothing to say about that. It was hilarious, dude. I think he might have smacked the shit out of him, dude.
Bro.
I think he might have smacked the shit out of him, dude. All right, dude.
Dude.
What do you think?
You know, happens.
You think he deserved getting hit, dude? Or was he just, like, goofing off?
Man, I've hit people for less.
Really? Well,
I mean, remember that kid named Whit?
Yeah, that's true. I remember what.
Yeah, he was drinking with us, and he made a mom joke, and I leaned across the table, and I slapped the shit out of him. Yeah, man.
It takes a little bit more than that to get a reaction like that from you, because honestly, Whit was on your nerves all fucking night, dude.
Bro, he was like a master at it. There's very few people in my life that I've ever met that have learned to get on my nerves like that. And dude figured it out like hour number 1, and it was over. Like, I've never had anybody piss me off as much as that dude did.
All right, bro. So I got this article here. I find it humorous. I'm sure some people would read this and think it was sad, or
I love it.
Not a good story.
Sounds good.
But here's the quote for the headline: Golden Corral style buffet of drugs found during search at motel. All right, so. And look, I'm happy for them because the cops have their little like key phrase. But let's talk about what was in this Golden Corral buffet.
Yeah, man.
They had meth, GHB, Xanax, heroin, and marijuana. So they managed to have
Wait a second.
5 drugs. Yeah, I know. And you know what I was thinking?
5 drugs, and it's
5 drugs. And they got the Golden Corral nod. And I'm like, I don't like Golden Corral. And if somebody was like, let's go to Golden Corral, I wouldn't be like, yay. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with Golden Corral. It's just like, I like a good home cooked meal, whatever. It's fine. But if I'm going to go to a buffet, personally, I like the way Las Vegas does buffets. King crab legs, or probably don't do that anymore, but they used to, right? They got the steak, they got everything, right? And they got it all the time. So I'm not more of a Bellagio buffet guy myself. So
you like the more experienced, better drugs, like the meth and the heroin. It's like, what the fuck you doing?
Here's the thing. I know what they're doing, and I understand why they would be in that position. I look at that as a combination of bad mistakes that led you to Golden Corral, and that's fine. Like, everybody's got to go to Golden Corral sometimes. But my point is, like, where's the Molly?
Where's the cocaine?
Yeah, and there should be some hash. Like, marijuana is good, but if you're gonna, but
it doesn't take that like, what's that word I'm looking for? Like, like when you're dealing with like meth or heroin, you've got this like edge at it, and it doesn't take the edge away unless you have that.
And the more I look at it, I think maybe Golden Corral is giving them too much credit. I mean, I feel like this might be like a gas station bodega style buffet versus a Golden Corral style buffet.
That's like going down to the local like drug dealer and saying, "I'll take $20 of whatever you have."
Right.
Like that's a $100 meal right there. That's not a $2,000 meal.
Look, and I don't condone any of this stuff. Honestly, like.
Yeah, don't take drugs, guys. Unless you like know what the fuck you're doing.
Are the ones that They really fuck people up for a long time. And I've paid a bit of a price for some of my mistakes I've made in my life. So I don't think it's all like, fun and games and that nobody gets hurt, because obviously these things happen. But making the right decisions about what drugs you're doing will help you out a long way. And when you look at meth and heroin, this guy's in a bad spot. He could be in a better spot. Uppers, baby. Anyway, we'll leave that one at that. And not enough prescriptions. That's the other thing. But hey, to each their own. And I'm sure that if he had everything I'm talking about, getting busted would be way worse. But all right, so we got two highly controversial things that maybe we don't even want to talk about. I found one that we can talk about, dude. It's
yeah, I love
you
it.
Slipped it in there, bro. You slipped it in there. Okay, Larsa Pippen, hanging out with Marcus Jordan.
Yes, dude.
If you somehow don't know what we're talking about Michael Jordan's son and Scottie Pippen's
daughter,
ex-wife.
Time out. Are you sure? I think it's his
Boom!
daughter.
I know.
I thought it was his daughter,
Nope.
man.
Look it up. Pull your phone out and look it up right now.
All right. I'm pulling it up right now.
Pippen is Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. They've been on again, off again for the last several years. She's incredibly famous because of being friends with other famous people. Other than just being Scottie Pippen's wife, she's like she ends up showing up in celebrity gossip type stuff. But this whole banging Marcus Jordan,
damn, dude, how is she gonna do dirty to her dad like that, man?
his airness's heirs have got game. His airness's heirs.
How's she doing her? Dude, this has to be like fuck you to her husband, and Jordan's son's just going around for the pussy.
Here's what I would say,
bro.
When she's with Marcus, she is saying it's not about Scottie. All right.
Damn, dude. I just don't even I don't even know what to say about that, dude. Like, what the fuck?
All right,
can you rebound off of that?
Yeah, you can, dude. You can. And look, I'm not really into Larsa Pippen. Like, I just
I haven't licked my asshole.
Fine. I understand why Scottie loves her and all that, or loved her, and I get it. But she's just not she looks like she belongs in the Kardashian clan, and some people think that's really hot. That's just not my type, and that's fine. But good for Marcus. Good for Marcus, because in the end, we all know that he always wanted to be out there on the court with his dad, and if he can't be on the court with his dad, he might as well be bagging his dad's teammate's wife. All right, so
bam.
Let's talk about Jack White. All right, so Jack White. I love Jack White, bro.
Yeah.
And this gets political, bro. So maybe we want to steer clear, but I just want to say, first of all, I love Jack White. I saw this story and I was like, Jack White is the shit. I saw him play Red Rock. And if you guys don't know, Red Rock, get with it. Colorado, Denver area, just outside of Denver. It's an amazing place to see a concert. And watching Jack White was unfucking believable. But he's coming at Elon Musk, and he did it with some class because he did it on Instagram. We love that, right? Why go play on Twitter with him, right? So he does it on Instagram, and he compares Elon Musk's move recently to the KKK move. So,
shite.
Yeah, dude. I thought that was some pretty heavy-handed shit, but yeah. My point is this: good for Jack White, because in the end, his point was, I got a studio, right? Or but I'm not gonna let somebody have a rally for the KKK there. I have limitations. I have that right. You have the right to limit that stuff. But so much going on Twitter, bro. So much going on Twitter.
When I think of Elon Musk, the best way I think about him,
I want to know, because you've been spot on with a lot of things, and I think things are going bonkers, and you have a totally different opinion. So I want to know.
I like to think of Elon Musk tied down to a bed, and this crack whore taking a big old dump on his chest, bro. That's how I like to think about Elon Musk. The reality is that this guy has fuck you money, pretty much saying fuck you to everybody else. And you know what? when you've got fuck you money, you have the ability to do whatever the fuck you want with it. If you want to spend $44 billion to fire a bunch of people on Twitter, God, I would do anything for $44 billion. I mean, I would say this about $44 billion. If I had $44 billion, I wouldn't have bought Twitter with it. But I would have bought something else with it. And then someone would have been like, you're fucking stupid for buying that shit. So it doesn't matter who it is. Like, if you're buying a company, people are going to think you're stupid for buying it.
$44 billion. Can you imagine the drug buffet you could end up with? Like,
dude, listen,
Pablo Escobar looked
I would build a house of drugs. Just like
each brick
house
is
inside
cocaine.
of a house, and it just be different drugs. I just go like lick the carpet, and it'd be like, oh, well, that was a bunch of LSD there. That was nice. You know, and just have a fun house.
But here's the problem, right? It sounds like a gingerbread house, right? But when it rains, how does it hold up, bro?
That's what I'm saying. It's a house inside a house.
It would flush into.
It's a house inside a house.
All right, dude. I still think there's going to be structural damage problems.
The rats would get to it. I know it,
dude. There's some stories I shouldn't tell, but I got a mouse
that's
story.
Going to incriminate you.
I got a mouse story one time. Got it tripping, bro. I got a mouse tripping, bro. I kept hearing it eat, like, from the carpet, from like the kitchen. It was staying at this Airbnb in Boston, so I might have given it a little special treat, bro. That mouse was talking, bro. I swear it wasn't speaking English, but it was speaking. Anyway, all right, so okay, we got. Kyrie's back, bro.
Bro.
All right, so first of all, I want to say I'm happy that Kyrie's back. But second of all, I want to say, like, I've never seen a tenure with a team go so poorly, ever. And at this stage, everybody, including Kyrie and the ownership and the fans, are counting down till it's over.
Yeah.
Like, getting KD would have been great if there wasn't Kyrie attached to that.
This is just driving the price down for these players. Eventually, it's going to be so low, a team like the Lakers can come in and swoop in and get a player. Like, I get it. I get what Kyrie's doing. I get what some of these players and these guys are doing out there. You know, like, when I see these guys, it's obvious there is a trend of people using Twitter right now and using their platform for almost a negative context, in a negative way. We've seen Trump do it for a long time, but now you see this whole group of people that are starting to utilize that as well. And for the longest time, you could say something and get away with it. I mean, how many times have we gone back and watched a film that was made in the 60s or even the 50s or even 70s, and it's like, this is one of the most racist films I ever seen. And it's just, this world is becoming more woke to what's proper and what's not, and sometimes people are caught on the wrong side of that. And I get to this point where it's involving a lot of players in the NBA, and that's when you know that Kyrie has crossed the line. If Kyrie hadn't crossed the line and it was like these guys are the players in the league were were backing him up and saying Kyrie's right. That's when you step back and you reassess the situation, but nobody is. I think there's one player that I can think of that stood up before Kyrie, and everybody else is being quiet. It's because of the situation. Everybody recognizes that you don't step in a pile of shit after you decided that's a pile of shit.
Bro, there's so many layers to this, and there's so many things that I don't quite understand, but as things start unwinding, I don't know if you saw this, but Kyrie's first game back in the NBA, he had quite a bit of support from, I don't even know what group of people this is. And
yes,
I'm working on it, bro. Sorry.
I get it. I get the support for Kyrie that's happening, and I support Kyrie for that, but when things are said in an anti-Semitic way or a racist way or a negative way for talking about homophobic way. There we go. People have to be accountable for it. It can't be just across the board. Well, we're not going to be racist. Oh, but homophobic is okay. I think about who was that player, Anthony Edwards, that came out earlier this year and used a lot of homophobic phrases on a video. Like we're seeing these type of things, and it's like, this is not okay. It doesn't matter if it's something that could hurt somebody else. It needs not to be said. It's like when we used to use the mentally handicapped word, right? Everybody out there that doesn't know what I'm talking about. There's a word around here in the United States that people used to use when they would say stupid, right? That person's a stupid, right? They're being an idiot. But it's a very derogatory word towards a certain group of people, and that's where we don't like. We're not trying to be out there and say that you shouldn't say this or this or this or this, or look at the racism here, look at the this here. We're out there saying none of this should be happening, like the racism, the anti-Semitic, the homophobia, like all this other shit. It shouldn't be happening because everybody is a human. Everybody has their own way of looking at life. And if we try to dictate what everybody does, then we just turn into a fucking Hitler. And that's just not cool.
Yeah, man. And, there's a story that came out last couple of days. An incident out in Colorado Springs that, just kind of reflects what you're talking about. And it's why we have to we have to stand up when you see people who are engaging in, hateful ideas. It doesn't mean you have to go around, engaging in everything. But at some level, if you don't stand up, and I lived in Colorado Springs for years, bro. That place was a really good place for me. But we always knew Colorado Springs has the highest suicide rate anywhere in the country. And when you see something like what happened at that nightclub, the gay nightclub, 5 dead, 18 injured. That's the last time I saw any numbers. It makes you just really, understand that our actions have influence, and maybe there's nothing that we could have influenced with this individual person, but we can stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves, because the truth is there are people all around us who have different mentalities. And when you hear hateful speech, it makes it so you don't say your truth, right? And that's what we can help people is learn to speak your truth, because you have support, right? And there are people who don't support you, and sometimes words can be really hurtful, but our goal is to have a lot of fun. But in the end, we're going to call bullshit when it's bullshit, bro. And we see a lot of bullshit in this world. It's all mixed up, and half the stuff we were talking about is bullshit mixed in. And we can laugh at it, but sometimes it's just not a laughing matter. So we appreciate everybody joining us. We hope that you guys enjoy the holidays. Friends, family, good times. If you can, smoke a blunt on Bluntsgiving, baby.
Get it, baby, get it.
Thanks for joining us. We will see you soon.
Friday.